Hey, Luke. Okay, so we'll run through Heartland Park here. This is a place I know relatively well. I mean, I probably don't have as many laps here as you do, but I did run. I mean, now it was realistically when I was 16, so it was a while ago. But I ran the runoffs here, and I finished third. I mean, I wasn't using an illegal engine, so I like to think that was my rationale for not winning. But no, realistically, I know it well. I had to come through the pack, so I mean qualifying was okay, but I got knocked off at turn one, and then I had to drive through the pack. So I realistically just ran out of time before getting to the lead. But I did like this place, and I had a completely different approach from what everybody else had, which, in all fairness, has been fairly common through my career. I always have found that I've taken a fairly unique approach to every track. And that's what I did here, which it has a lot of success here because we're going to just adjust a few things. So your big complaint, I'm actually going to cut through to sort of to the start finish line. Your big, let's say you were hard on yourself a little bit for turn three, and realistically, I think you're quite strong at turn three. I mean, most everybody does turn three wrong in my eyes. You know, it's not really a corner that is the sole focus. The sole focus is, you know, either coming out of too strong or being prepared for four. So those are where my focuses are, where everybody else seems to try to focus on, you know, how can we better turn three, blah, blah, blah. You know, and everybody just kind of does a really steady state approach. The fact that you're doing your, as you say, your bastard double apex, that's what I want to see. It doesn't have to be pretty when it's fast. You know, it's all about like really working the car and maximizing the grip level that's there. So a lot of times you're going to fight the car, then the car is going to rotate and you're going to come back. That's how you know you're on the limit. If it's just nice and pretty in, you come out, then you come back in, guess what? We're going way too slow. That's the reality. So don't be too hard on yourself because it's a really good lap. And there's a lot of things that from our previous laps that you're doing a lot different now, which is why this was your fastest lap at Heartland Park, I'm guessing, because we're attacking way more and we're putting the car in uneasy situations much, much more through the lap. So it's not pretty and it's not, you know, the perfect lap as far as cleanliness, but because we have that level of attack, we then get the time benefit from that. So we'll start here straight away. I mean, I raced here in a formula car, so my lines were completely different because I could put the car into much more agile positions, let's say. But in saying that, we're going to uh, simplify the approach a little bit so that you'll have time gain without realistically doing all that much different or having to attack more. Um, you know, like we talked about before, it's just about cleaning things up and you'll find big, big time gains. So coming down here, I mean, you do cut to the right, and most everybody does. Um, with your car, I don't know how much more to the left we can stay, but the big thing that I did was I stayed out here, and when I came down into the braking zone, I was dead nuts straight coming, you know, like along the track coming into the corner. Now, obviously, we can't do that with the vet. And realistically, I mean, my line was kind of like this, and I went like this. I drove out to the outside, but the braking was so short and so late that I would get to the outside of the corner and then kind of open up the corner as much as possible. With the vet, I mean, um, you know, with this car, I think if we can try to just keep it a little bit to the left and then get the car rotated and pointed down the track a little bit more, rather than doing the braking in a straight line out to the outside, it may just benefit us a touch. You know, so what I'm saying is that maybe we would be here instead of being here. Okay. A little change, nothing drastic. Because obviously, if we work the car out to the left, then we're trying to rotate the car back to the right. It's going to be very uneasy coming into the braking. But what I'm kind of suggesting is we come, you know, a little bit down this line here rather than taking this approach. Because if we look at it, let me just get some arrows here. Our angle of attack will be a little bit more like this rather than like this. And it's just going to open up turn one, or well, sorry, the S's a little bit better for us. Okay. So just a little thing I would suggest. I don't think we're leaving a ton of time on the table here, but the big reason I suggest this is if we watch our braking here, we peak, right? So we come up to, here's where we initially hit the brake to. And then we come down out of the brake. So we're realistically dropping from 60% to 20% braking. And then we increase back up to 40% braking, and then we bleed out of it at turn one. So our braking trace kind of looks like this. Right? That's how we're sort of braking. And if we could, again, my point is kind of straighten the car out just a little bit, have the braking event just a little bit straighter, more down in this direction kind of thing. Like, sorry, that was bad drawing. More in this direction. Then I think our braking trace, we can shorten it up a little bit, and our braking trace can be like this. Right? It can be a nicer, cleaner mound. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And that's why I would just work on moving that line a little bit more. Just a little suggestion. And then what that will also allow us to do is right now we're coming in at a very, let's say, narrow angle. So we're coming in and the car is realistically pointed out this way. If we change our angle of attack just a little bit, it may allow us to kind of have the car just in a little bit more rotation in this way and get through to a bit better, right? So that's really what I would suggest is just trying to manipulate that a little bit, and it'll allow us to come through here much, much cleaner. The big key is we want to elongate both straights. So what I mean by that is we have, our main straight from here to, let's say, this point right here, right? This is where I'm going to say that's incorrect. Let's say to this point right here. This is where our straight from this point all the way down, all the way comes down to here, right? And then from here, I'm going to switch colors. From here, we make a second straight from there to here, right? So we just want to elongate both. So what I mean by that is from this point, we want to be all of a sudden getting back into the gas and flat out from there. So we want to make it 2 acceleration zones rather than right now, it's actually 3 acceleration zones because we then accelerate from here over to here, and then we get out of it, and then we accelerate from there over to turn 3. On the gas, out of the gas, on the gas. So what I kind of want to do is try to carry that speed into the first one, properly as we're doing, but with slightly more or slightly better angle, like where we have the car, with a slightly better entrance into the right-hander. And then that'll allow us to just kind of hold it to the right side of the track on exit a little bit more, and then prep us better through the left. And then when it opens up the left, then that allows us to just get onto the power one time and accelerate right out through here. So, if we're able to somewhat hold the car just here, and it's not even about holding it way more to the right, it's just about having the right trajectory, that the car is settled and calm, so that we can really attack this left-hander. And then, so we're kind of transitioning from brakes out of the brakes as the car comes, we're braking a little bit past the apex, so to speak. Now, it's still always going to be 3 acceleration zones. Like, we might still have to breathe it here, but because we have the car prepared a little bit more, we may just be breathing it rather than a major full lift, right? And then eventually we'll be able to open it up where as soon as we're getting on the power, we're flat through the left-hander. So that's not what I want you to achieve right now, but as we come out of here, we're kind of here, we prep the car a bit better, and we come through the left-hander a little bit cleaner. And when I say come through the left-hander, I mean, I want to be really attacking this, because we have to understand the inside tires. The car is going to be like this, right? So the inside tires are going to be, lifting off the ground a little bit. We're going to have a lot of body roll in it, so we can really attack over this left-hand curb. And then into the notorious 3. So really good. I mean, in all fairness, is there a better line through here? I don't know. I came in a little bit narrower, and my car would hook around here and then come back. So if we can just, I wouldn't say that you're not coming in shallow enough, but if we can just sort of try to utilize into here a little bit more, and then the car rotates and then back we come. I think, the distance that we're off here is the distance that we're off at the second apex. So that's, we're still diamonding it. We're still doing the double apex. And I don't know if really there's enough grip to even do this any shallower, but then we get the car to hook and then we come back. But when we come back, I want to be, we have to do what we were doing before, where we attack in on the binders, get the car to rotate, wait, patient. Don't, right now, this is our only issue. We're getting on power, but we're on power too soon. Okay. So we haven't really let the car rotate. And then we get into the power a lot. And then we're having to fight it on exit. Right. And we're a little bit too early for the double apex. So when we really break it down, the key is we can really drive it in. And this is where I say we can probably come in a little bit shallower. We can really drive it in and then just be patient in the mid corner. We don't have to be kind of jumping to the throttle straight away. The car comes out, we fight the car out, but we shouldn't be on power yet. We should be carrying enough speed that we're still fighting the car, just trying to hold on to here, and then when the car starts to come back, our clipping point, which is over here, it'll line up perfectly with the curb. So, we want the car to come out and then we will bring the car back, but let's wait a little bit longer till, maybe even over here till we start getting back to throttle. Once we feel the car actually start to do the brunt of the rotate, where we can get on the power and really maximize the exit. So we're asking too much of the car right now. And then that's why we have to flatten out our steering. So if we watch our steering all the way through, increasing steering, now so there's our peak. And then now we're opening. And then we have to increase again because we're getting to the end of the corner. So that's the thing. We want to drive it in hard, and we want to, lose the middle, lose the let's say the white line in the middle of the corner, and it'll start to dig, and then we'll come back. So just as we were talking about those diamond and double apexes before, that's what we're going to do now. And you're doing it really well. We're maybe not attacking enough on the entry, and then that's allowing us to get to the power too soon. I don't want to carry a ton more speed. I just want to work our deceleration a bit later. So we can brake at the same point, but I just want to carry our deceleration. I don't want to brake so hard and then get out of the brake and then try to get into the gas. I want to brake and just ease out of the brake a little bit smoother so that we're carrying that speed up the hill a bit deeper, just a bit deeper, maybe 3-4 car lengths maximum. All right, nothing drastic. And then that's where, when we come out of here, our exit is going to be much more like this. And this is how I want our exit to be. I don't want to be coming way out here, because the guys who are coming out here, it's where there's no forethought. Then what do we do? What do we do through these right-handers? Right? So you want to be tight out of here. So this is really good line exiting out. We just had to give up too much at the second apex because we got there too soon and we had to flatten out our curve. That was good. Just, we want to be a little bit more ahead of the car, but the reason we were quick is we attacked in really, really hard, but we did come in a bit shallow. We turned in a little bit early, and you can see that from our steering angle. As we go, our steering angle increases, and then we kind of decrease because we realize we're in a little bit early, and we decrease a lot, and then we ask more and more and more of the steering angle, and then that's where we get to the apex, and now we're asking a ton of the steering angle, 51 degrees. So we realistically came in at 29, and then we asked for a bunch because we came in too shallow. What I want to be doing is really increasing steering angle to the apex and then opening up. So we just came in a bit we just turned in too early. Simple as that. So we want to be using our references, but we turned in from the right point of the track, which the correct point of the track, let's say, because we turned in from the left side, and that's where I want to be. I want to be able to carry so much speed through this right-hander. I mean, I realistically treated this as if it was a kink in my braking zone over to here. So I was just hard on it through here. So everybody would come out of 3, and then they'd be, they would have to do like a lift and go through 4 here. And I was dead flat through 4. And I made a bunch of passes down here before people were suspecting it, because everybody thinks, oh, you're just going to set up and then you're going to make the pass at the next one going into the hairpin. And I said, forget that. I'm going to be flat through here and then attack right down the inside. And it was perfect. It took everybody by surprise, and they all thought I was a young dickhead. But anyway, it worked. So let's just be a little bit later there, but good. And we're carrying speed and we're attacking. And here we're on power a little bit soon. So again, like, it's just one of these things, as we talked about before, we want to be braking into the corner. And here we're probably a little bit late on our apex. We want to be coming into the corner, but we don't want to be getting on power until, we start to open that steering again. So we're attacking and we're carrying a lot of speed, which is good. Now we just want to merger that and just be a little bit more prominent on our fundamental again of not being on power before the apex. If you hear my dogs in the background sound like they're dying, they're just French bulldogs and they just choke on everything. So they'll be fine. Okay. Here, don't focus so much on the late apex. Everybody really emphasizes the late apex, but start to, and it's true, we want to just focus on getting the best braking possible and then accelerate out, but we're not flat through the next left. So it's not like our straightaway is super long. We want to start easing it into here, and we want to just make sure that we're being mindful and treating this as a corner, getting to the apex and then getting on power at the apex. We don't want to miss it, because what happens is we miss it completely and then we're on power and then we don't come out clean at all. Now we're realistically driving it to the outside of the track. I want to avoid that. I want to still make it a little bit smoother, increasing steering angle to the apex, hitting the apex, and then opening. Okay, so we want it to be smooth and natural. With how we attacked there, it looks like, oh, we braked late and we got on the power soon, but we really didn't. I mean, if we start easing out of the brake and just getting the car into the apex a little bit sooner, we'll have such a smoother arc that, like right now, um, let's say this is just, let's say this is the corner. Right now, the line that we've done is kind of like this, right? And then the line that we want is just to be a little bit smoother. Okay, like we just want to be a little bit smoother coming out. Okay, so that's really the difference. And there is time to be had there just by merging everything a little bit nicer. Here, you don't need to lift as early or as much. Be aggressive on the turn in, get it in, and the moment we get to that apex, that's where you need to have a clear eye on the exit. We need to be ahead of the car, looking ahead and saying, okay, I got it to the apex, the car's underneath me, I can ask more of it as I'm coming out to the apex. Because look where we realistically exit. Like, you're at 13 degrees steering angle, but you're really not. Like, you're able to increase the steering angle at any time. So really, you're just kind of driving straight out, and we have lots of room on the exit. So let's be a little bit more aggressive. It is a little bit uphill. There is a lot of grip through there. So, you can lift off at the same point. That's fine. But I want you to be asking more of it on the exit. Okay. And coming in here deep, I don't think is a necessarily bad thing, but it's one of these things. If we get it rotated just a little bit sooner, like if we hit the apex, so come across here and we get it rotated a little bit sooner, guess what? From 9 all the way over to 10 is dead flat. Okay, so yeah, we want to brake late in here, but realistically, the time loss of braking late and running wide and then being stuck on through 9 is significantly more than if we give up a little bit at 8, keep it tight, and then get a way better run through 9. And when I mean way better run through 9, I mean we'll be 5-6 miles per hour quicker going into 10, which we have to be mindful of as well. So I want to have the car rotated over there just a little bit sooner. I know we overshot it just a little bit, but then through here, the moment that we get across this apex, we should be able to see that, okay, I have all this road out here to use. I can guide the car way out there, so I can really manage the traction by using the steering wheel and asking all of it from the throttle pedal, but just using the steering wheel to really let the car out nice and free. If we do that, there's a big time gain here, because now we're realistically headed out of the circuit. We're heading in this direction, and think if we just gave up a little bit more at 8, we'd be heading in this direction for 9. We'd be coming through here like this rather than like this. You see what I mean? So we're coming more like this time rather than like this. And that's the biggest difference. So there's a lot of time that is on the table here, and we'll be at full throttle. So here now we then crank it. But keep in mind that in this position, we realistically have all of this road to use. Here it's flat. This left over here is an easy flat. So let's use a little bit more road and let the car out just a little bit more, just to relieve the stress. So that way we can get a bit more power to the ground and not have to fight the car so much. Then here we come into my favorite corner on the track, the one I do different than every single person I've ever raced against. Okay, so as we come through this left-hander, everybody, they do the same thing. They go, okay, I want to be, through 10, I want to be mid-track so that I can attack 11 so that I can prepare for 12. Well, that's all well and good, but you know, 11 and 12 are really nothing corners. Like we're stuck at super slow speeds in 12, and it's like basically a hairpin, and 11 is just a kink leading into it. So realistically, 10 is elongating our straight, so we might as well try to remain at a higher speed for as long as possible. So we break here and we keep it, we kind of late apex and we keep it tight. But this is, I'm going to just draw it. This is realistically your line through here. We kind of late apex, we keep it mid track, and then we go through 11. And that's what everybody does. Something I would like you to try, I don't know if it'll work. I think it is a little bit more car dependent, but something I'd like you to try is, you know, attacking through here with a little bit more speed, which is going to force the car to run basically right to the outside. And then we try to get the car back for 11. So we carry way more speed through here. We end up using all the road. So if this was a standard left-hand sweeper, not thinking about the combination of corners, and then what it's really, it's going to make 11 way more difficult, but 11 is a nothing corner anyway. And then we're going to be tight and compact into 12, but we're tight and compact into 12 no matter what we do. So we come through here, but realistically, like I was actually running this curb lap after lap. And I'll tell you, on the final lap of the race, I passed for the third position by coming through here. And I was so much quicker through here, I went down the inside of a guy for 11. And he didn't think I was there. And he went spearing off into the weeds, actually, because he had no idea that anybody could pull beside him. But it was all just from me doing a completely different line than everybody else. And really using, I'm just trying to maximize the time that I'm at full speed, right? The slow corners is where we do gain time usually. But in something like this, where people are unsure of how to sacrifice corners and how to strategize corners, we want to maximize our time at high speed because that's where we're, you know, quick. And then at slow speed, we want to minimize our time at slow speed without a doubt. So as we come through here, I would say if you just utilize a little bit more road, it'll allow us to be quite a bit quicker through the whole of 10. And then 11, like I say, is a Mickey Mouse, and we'll end up in the same area because we're still going to be compact through 12. We still have to woe it up and get it rotated in here. So, and again, with 12, we're braking in, get the car rotated and accelerating out. So we're on power, I think just a touch too soon, but that swings the car around. But, you know, if we waited just a little bit more and then opened our hands, we can come a little bit better through. Now, coming through on the exit, yeah, we don't want to use all the road here because we do want to get back to the left side as much as possible and then carry as good of speed through the right-hander as we can. Now, you know, do we need to enter from the outside here? Not necessarily. Do we lose a bunch of time if we really drive out of here hard and then we're compact for here? Not necessarily, right? It is somewhere where we do kind of fall in the middle, but it's all about from here. The only corner that matters is the leading onto the front straight. So we get to the left side, but attack through here. Like everybody really tries to hug it here and then really late apex this one. And they just cost so much time between here and here, right? Through this section, they just leave so much time on the table. Attack in here a little bit more. Get over the curb, get it turned right. And then here we are. And then for sure here, you know, let's not overthink the corner. We need to look at what's ahead of us. Here is our true apex. Way out here is our true exit. So we want to just connect this to our exit. And actually that was probably awful drawing as well. We want to just connect our apex and our exit. Right? So that's what we want. Okay, so we don't need to overthink it. We don't need to overemphasize it. Get into the left-hander and carry the speed through the left-hander. You know, so we'll get on power, but we have all of this road out here that we can use. Because realistically, they're not calling it for track limits. So we can really maximize the exit through here. Now, from this point, I want to delay my initial throttle a little bit, because when I get on throttle, I want to just get the most friggin' throttle. I want to launch this car out of the corner. So that's really the goal. That's really the game plan. So just, you know, let's not overemphasize it. Let's not get on power too soon. Let's get in there, clip the apex, and then the moment that we can start opening the steering and heading to our exit point, which is way out there and way down the road, I want to be asking everything of the rear traction. Okay. So let's really analyze that a little bit more. We don't need to stop and truly focus on the tight corner, because it has such an open exit. So where the initial apex is, we have to consider that, you know, if we look at it from above the corner, we would see that it looks completely different here. So let's say this is the pits. And then realistically, this is the way that the track goes. But how I want you to look at it is as if this was the exit, just like this. So from here, we can scribe a line that goes like this, right? Rather than the line that we're taking right now is much more like this. And we can see how much we would have to stop the car to get it to rotate here. So let's really attack and bring it out to the outside here. Okay. So great job, mate. Huge improvements every single time we do a video. So really super stoked. Let's keep it going. All right. We're going to win everything. I'm having to live through you here, because I'm not getting in a car, it looks like anytime soon. I'm kind of Canada and the US aren't best friends right now, unfortunately. So at least for travel. So, but hopefully soon. But anyway, keep it up. Great job, man. All right. And we'll speak soon.